Welcome to NPR Presents Talks About Tampons with Mary.
Tampon Talk with Mary. Hello. Hi, it's 2 p.m.
We went to the Upper East Side of Manhattan to find out more about the reproductive rights.
Larry David saying, like, get tampons! Well, these ladies need tampons! I don't.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I still haven't seen that show.
Really?
Yeah, I've only seen like some clips of it, and I know the meme and all that, and that's great within itself.
Right.
Yeah.
I think just the show on top of that might add a little extra element to the meme.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it adds more of the context.
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey, but welcome!
Yeah!
Welcome to Tampon Talk with Mary. Welcome to a show that only airs once a month. I usually do this thing called Quick Story, where I'm like, hey, I did this embarrassing thing on my period. I don't know if I have anything. I probably just, I bleed through everything every month. It's a little TMI before you buy. I've ruined it. Oh, I know. So I was talking to someone about, like, should I buy this pair of underwear? And they were like, what the fuck? No, it's white. Like, you're playing Destiny. Like, are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, it's a thing we have to think about. But anyway, don't buy white underwear. Name of the episode.
I've seen Big Mouth, so I know, like, yeah, white pants.
I haven't started watching this show yet, but Tom was showing me the tampon that was singing a parody of Everybody Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what is more me in this moment of a tampon and REM? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a double whammy.
A double hoot and a whammy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. A listener, third party in the room now. I've brought on a good friend and guest Nick Jones. Are you cool with last names?
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
It's great.
Tell us a little bit about
to talk about stuff. Yeah, well, I'm kind of a screenwriter, comedian, kind of aspiring to kind of go in those lengths, and maybe working on sketches and acting too. I just like to do all that stuff, and I just have fun with it. So yeah, that's just kind of who I am. I'm from Rockford, Illinois, which is just like a Midwest town, like anything from like a independent movie. Just like all those tropes, like that kind of fits.
It's like 3 trailers in the middle of Rockville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just in the Rust Belt, like there's no jobs. We're all just like eking by, still recovering from the recession.
The one person from Rockville that listens to Tampon Talk is like, yeah, oh my god!
Rockford, yeah.
Rockford, yeah. See, I'm sorry, I'm the worst.
No. The thing is, like, it might as well be that city. It's not exactly... We're actually, funny enough, that's where sock monkeys were invented.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, next time you buy one for your loved ones, they come from good old Rockford, Illinois. Is population decreasing by the minute?
Is that logo on the sign, like, is sock monkeys and population decreasing by the minute? Like, I should just... If it should,
but I don't think it got approved by the mayor yet, because, politics, it's a crazy battlefield nowadays.
I hear it's not great just in Illinois. Like, haven't the governors of, like Illinois just been... Haven't, like, 6 been arrested?
Yeah, like, I think the past few have either been, like, in jail or some kind of collusion.
Just writing like Mein Kampf in jail. And...
Yeah, more like they're gonna sell their seat, for some money, and like, well, might as well make a quick buck off of the power that I have, which I mean, American entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, go for it. You can only get so much from tax money.
Yeah. This is the market, the free market that we've been fighting for as Americans. Is for this moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
If y'all want to shout out to all those, if y'all want to come on Tampon Talk, you've got some free time. So once I get Alex Jones on here, we could do a big old episode.
Oh my god.
I don't think Alex Jones would ever come on this show, but I want to do an entire episode about why he wouldn't come on this show.
That'd be really interesting, because I'm still trying to figure out what that guy's supposed to be. And by the way, I'm not related to him. Like, there's a lot of Joneses out there.
But the Jonas Brothers are, I think.
Yeah, well, that's just those are them straight facts,
Those are true facts, straight facts.
Yeah, I know it. You know it. everybody knows
Everybody knows it.
Yeah, exactly. See, yeah, you know what's up.
Yeah.
This show is current, you know, like,
Yeah.
you don't mess around.
Keeping it up to snuff, up to speed.
Absolutely.
Get your news here at Tampon Talk.
Mm-hmm. You want to go to 0 to 100 real quick? You know,
shout out to Drake. Congrats on the baby. That whole Pusha T and like Drake beef. Did you hear about that?
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pusha T like called out Drake for having ghostwriters and announced his baby for him. And I love that that's current rap beef where Tupac's like, what? Like I was straight killing people, my dude. Like why?
Yeah.
Yo, I announced your baby. Like in your face, man.
Yeah, that's like, it's like beef light, you know? It's lean beef. It's lean beef, you know? Like,
Yeah.
back in the day we dealt with the 80-20, but this is just, shit's like 75-25, like, let's be honest.
It's like, Pusha T wasn't even invited to the baby shower, and that's why he got mad. I don't know if that's true. That's and he was just like, I didn't get invited to the baby shower, so fuck you, Drake. You have a baby.
You know, maybe...
What a thug.
Maybe Alex Jones has a point to his old soy boy theory. I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of like, that's drama? Like, I've heard worse in the cafeteria. I don't know.
Soy boy. I want that. I like that as Alex Jones' just nickname in general, is to call him like a soy boy.
Use his own words against him. Yeah.
He's been drinking too much water and now he's gay. That's turn all the freaking frogs.
Well, is he a frog? Is that
probably.
We don't know.
I think he
never
looks
said
like
he wasn't a frog.
That's true.
So that leaves the possibility open.
And he looks like a half man, half toad kind of creature, like a beefed up like toad.
Yeah.
So,
well, great. I am not going to be able to go to sleep tonight.
thinking about Toad Jones.
Yeah.
God.
Sounds like a 1970s folk singer. My name's Toad Jones. We're talking about Tennessee now.
I like that. Is that how he like segues into songs at concerts? As he goes, "We're going to talk about Tennessee now."
Yeah, it's just about Tennessee, even though like he's from Kentucky. He always just has this like, you know, Beatrice obsession with Tennessee. Like he's always wanted to be in Nashville his whole life, but he never got it in the crowd.
He's stuck in Kentucky. Never seen the ocean, right? Wait, Kentucky's landlocked. Now I sound like a dumbass, but
well, I mean, the sinks in Tennessee are much bigger than that. It's basically like a body of water. So
just people gather together to jump in the sink.
Yeah. I mean, what I was going to say about that.
Well, anyway.
Lost my train of thought.
Well, speaking of train of thought, there's a segment on here called Tampon Terror. But for you, since you are a man on this show, it would be Boner Burnin' for you. But would you happen to have a story like the viewers to know, either for a Tampon Terror story or a Boner Burden story?
So I guess like, it's just kind of like any kind of story, or like how does that?
Well, it's so anything embarrassing. The sort of the goal is that like, the whole idea is removing the stigma around being able to talk about any of this, and it's being like just really humanizing the whole thing. You know, just being like, this happens to everybody, and it's like it's funny and it's fine. Sure.
You know, I don't really have anything that comes to mind as far as like boners go. Just because like I don't know, like I don't really have any like that one moment, or like, you know, people have those sexual awakening stories or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, mine's just kind of more vanilla. It's just kind of like sometimes when you're just, you know, in a car in your passenger seat minding your own business, just like, I don't know. Like,
I like that you use the phrase vanilla.
Yeah. You know, like sometimes I think about things and it's like, what words would describe me? And celery comes to mind. Breyer's vanilla ice cream, another. And so, with that train of, that line of thought, it's just been more like, like, sometimes just kind of like, through no pie of your own, it just kind of like happens. We're like, well, shit. You know, like, like, there's nothing really you can do about it. I can tell you about the time that I found out about periods, though. Yeah. It's kind of like, it's not like a crazy story or anything, but so when my so I'm the youngest in my family, and so the sister right above me had her first period. And, you know, like, back in the day, you know, I think I was like 10 or something, we didn't really get along, you know, that well as siblings do at that age.
Yeah.
And so one day when she's just kind of like, I guess I thought she was sick or something, or she didn't really seem sick to me, and it was just kind of like,
sick with puberty.
yeah, or it's just like, she was just like, you know, extra mean. I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, why are you being extra mean? I didn't do anything. And there's something about, like, someone put, like, a blanket in the washer or something. I was like, okay, that's just kind of weird. Like, I don't know, like, something happened, like, the day before. And I thought it was just, like, I thought one of my other siblings just, like spilled soup on it or something like that. Like, I thought that's what they were upset about.
What a very Midwest thought, first off, is that maybe somebody spilled soup on this blanket.
Yeah. And I didn't, like, see the blanket at all. I just know that it was, like, something was spilled on it. Which is, like, foreshadowing. But I was just, like, I kind of assumed that what it was, and then, like, you know, my mom put me aside to, like, talk to me about, like, what a period was, and I was like, oh, women go through that? Like, damn, that sucks. I was like...
Little 10-year-old Nick just became, like...
I became woke. I became woke.
You just sucked
like,
that.
Red beat woke.
Wow.
And my mom was telling me about this whole thing, like, I think during, like, ancient Greece or something, like, when women were in their cycle, like, they would be, like, kind of in the temples or something, they'd be, like, as mystics, because that was seen as, like, a sign of wisdom. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Whoa.
Like, oh, so that's kind of cool. So it's like it's like a sensitive time, so it's like, you know, be kind to your sister or whatever. And I just, like, I felt really bad about that, because I was just kind of resentful at her before. You know, like, oh, why are you being bitchy to me? You know? But, like, I think after, like, finding that out, I kind of understood, and I just kind of, I felt more compassion after that. So I was just like, hey, can I do anything for you, kind of thing. And then, yeah, I think I was really thankful that I didn't have to go through that. Because that's kind of a weird thing to kind of find out about. Like, I can only understand to a certain extent, like, not from first-hand experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and the fact that you have to kind of deal with that every month is just kind of like, in some ways you'd have to get used to it, but at the same time, like...
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, even if, to me, thinking, like, if I had, like, a stomach flu, like, once a month, even for, like, just one day, once a month, I'd be like, wow. Nah.
Little 10-year-old Nick already woke, has a stomach flu, just like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm good, but thanks.
So, I recognized my male privilege back then, too, apparently. So, that's just, and that was a story, basically.
Wow.
You know? And, yeah, I think I'm kind of lucky with that, because, you know, I have 3 older sisters, so, like, I think just being... I guess surrounded in that environment of just kind of the strong female role models, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think helped me be more understandable about situations like those. Or that's just a part of life, you know, like...
Yeah.
Some people, like, they see the side of a tampon, they're like, oh, no, like... Never really felt that way, unless, like, there's, like, a kind of that group thought where it's like, oh, well, we're men, we're supposed to be afraid of cotton in a stick form or a pad. Like,
I am a manly man, except for...
Yeah, like...
Cotton stick.
Like, that's the kryptonite, is cotton.
Wow.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like,
yeah, I guess I from the outside perspective, I don't really know if I've gotten it either, but I mean, then again, it's like I feel like I'm directly affected by the issue, but it's kind of like what you were saying, it's like where it's like can't really like understand it to the fullest degree, but just like 10-year-old Nick like feeling bad about it, and it's like, oh well, it's like, okay, well, compassion, that opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we can communicate with each other. I won't throw tampons at every man I see just to like get a little sting, you know, like, and it should be fine. Like, I don't like the whole thing about it's like a joke where women will like hide tampons in their like sweater sleeve at like work or something, and like go to the bathroom so they're not making other people uncomfortable. And I was like, well, okay, wait, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like someone seeing that you have a tampon is like, why is that the end of the world? I don't know.
Yeah, like, I guess maybe there's just a fear of ridicule, like, oh, Nancy's on her period, oh, let's give her shit for it. You know, like, but I don't think anyone would do that.
Yeah, like
in reality, unless you're in a really shitty work environment. But I'm like, maybe it's time to look for a new job. That's
like at BuzzFeed, like, Nancy's bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
Freaking Nancy, let's do a video about it.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I guess I get, like, some discreetness, like, in the same way of, like, you have to blow your nose. It's not like you take a tissue box and you brandish it, like, hey, guys, I have a stuffy nose, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom and, like,
yeah.
Know, like, no, they're not gonna do that, but, like, yeah, it shouldn't be, like, yeah, they shouldn't be afraid, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, not I guess. Like, they shouldn't be afraid. You know.
Yeah, I want to say I feel like there's like a turn of the tide. Like, I feel like things are changing in regards to that. Mm-hmm. But you know, you're never really sure.
Like, as far as I guess on what side of the issue? Like, do you think there are more like men that are aware of this, or just women are just kind of taking it to themselves, or just kind of like, well, I'm not gonna, like, kind of like mind over matter kind of thing?
I guess so. Like, I think, I guess men are becoming more aware. But because then I also don't want to generalize and be like, oh, well, they, you know, like men didn't know shit before, because that's also not true.
Oh, no. Yeah. Maybe it's just more it's adapted to the next generation of how they deal with it.
Yeah, or at least there's more just social acceptance around just like talking about like either like women's bodily functions or even just men's bodily functions, where it's not just like, okay, well, like, let's just talk about it. And and I think we deal with things in extremes, and that's why we can't talk about it. So like anything that's happening, like, say with like a guy or a girl, is that like, say it periods get thrown into the topic of like sex, and sex is either dealt in extremes of like, let's have it all the time, and you know, the usury or whatever, or it's let's not have it at all, let's like completely get rid of the emotions of wanting to feel sex, and there's no middle ground.
That's basically a good point. Yeah.
So I think that's why we can't, like, or why there's still stigma around talking about, like, I don't know, like embarrassing boners or like embarrassing like period stuff. Like, it shouldn't matter. Yeah,
because honestly, like, sharing those stories just kind of, like you said, it's relatable because, like, we're all human. It's like, we all go through it. So it's like, it's something embarrassing, you know, that, sure, it might be embarrassing, but it's like, you know, it's not life or death.
Yeah.
It's just means that you're human, you know, it's, you know, if anything, it could be, like, just celebrated. I mean, like, not like you take out the camera, like, guys, I just had a fun with it. And you're like, yay, but, like,
bro, nice!
You know, it's just like, you know, like, God made you who you are kind of thing, you know, just things happen, so. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting how the topics kind of change as far as, like, what you can be openly discussing about. Because I feel like the topics of sex, generally speaking, have become less taboo.
Yeah.
While maybe religion has kind of shifted more towards, like, for the sake of just being decent, just to not talk about it, because there's just a lot of qualms about it, which I get. But it's just interesting how that shift kind of, like, changed over the past, like, I would say, like, maybe 40 or 50 years.
Yeah.
Like, I would think. I mean, I've only been around for, like, half that, but still, like, from what I gather, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that even just indifferencing of, like, the two coasts of at least America is that, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people in, say, New York or California that are, like, pushing the conversation. And it's, like, just about comfortableness of, like, sex or just, like, relationships of the opposite sex. Like, Like, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. And it segues really well into our next topic. So, this spicy meme.
Oh, it's a little bit too spicy. Like, this isn't Chipotle spice. This is... They put habanero in them shits.
This is some Tabasco. Like, I need some extra milk.
This is some white bread.
This is some Wonder Bread with pepper on it. It's spicy.
Yeah, like, this Wonder Bread is... They used bleached wheat flour. Like...
It's... So, you get it. It's really spicy. But there's this article... came up by the transformed woman, I think it's called.
Yeah, the transformed wife.
Transformed wife. You're not.
Yeah, I brought it up just for reference.
So, what is the title of this article, my friend?
Yeah, well, from the well-renowned journalist, known for her many works.
Yes.
Lori Alexander.
Yes.
Created the Men Prefer Debt-Free Virgins Without Tattoos.
Now, just right away, what are you are a man. What are your thoughts on that? Is it true? Do you prefer debt-free virgins? Do you ask that on a first date?
I feel like it's a trick question. It's just like, it's not that I don't pursue someone like asking like, do you have any debt? Like, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be great if the person I'm dating doesn't have debt with them, but I mean, don't women prefer that too? Like, I don't think they want debt either.
Yeah, like...
I don't know what... It's such a confusing attention-getter title. It's just clickbaity. And then the...
Yeah, let's dive in.
Why do you mix it with... Not just debt-free women, but like debt-free virgins?
First off.
Also... Interesting that they just say virgins, like they don't specify like wives or anything like that. It's just like
and
like who's their audience?
And I like that the afterthought is like, oh, and no tattoos. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, I feel like they tack that on just so they can get like that group of just Christian mothers that are like
finally.
Yeah, not like people who happen to be Christian, but like, just that connotation of like, of Dana Carvey's like, that one, I forget the character that he plays, but what I'm talking about, right?
Like
the Satan.
Oh, the church lady. Yeah. God, I felt like I used to do an impression of the church lady. Like, well, isn't that special? Like that whole thing.
Yeah, that's the one. I kind of feel like this is what they're trying to cater towards. But this is like intended for like young women, probably like 17 or 18 that are thinking about going to college. And well, it raises some, au contraire.
Oh.
Like it's a little spin like, well, what if you want to be a wife? Maybe you shouldn't go to college.
What's the first paragraph? What do we jump into when we're first reading this article?
Okay. Do you know how much more attractive debt-free virgins, without tattoos in parentheses, are to young men? Unfortunately, there are so few of these types of young women anymore because of the high cost of college and the sexual promiscuity even with those in the church. And then it kind of goes into like,
She's talking about them priests after that little...
Yeah, like, that is, maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to go into that. That's the hour-long special.
Yep. That's the bonus features on the episode.
Yeah. And so this provides the reasons why... There's so many reasons why Christian young women should carefully consider whether or not they go to college, especially if they want to be wives and mothers someday. Especially, and then it gives reasons that like universities are secular and that teach against God and the Bible and His ways, and teaches them to be independent, loud, and modest, which...
God forbid they're independent.
Yeah.
Or loud.
let's just break that down for a little bit.
Yeah, here we go.
So, going to college makes you a bad wife or mother because college makes you promiscuous.
Yeah.
And makes you fall away from your faith, which that logic doesn't follow. Because
at all.
I mean, first of all, like, there are Christian centers in secular universities.
So if you're really needing, I don't want to say Christian fix, because that's, but yeah.
If you want to find a community where you want to build your faith, like,
you got
it's
one.
out there. Like,
Yeah.
Especially in the United States, like, there's a lot of Christian outlets you just have to look for, and they want people to, like, go to those places, you know? And
yeah.
I don't know. That's just more of a case by case basis. Yeah, that's just such a blanketed statement. You can't just say that. And
like, it's not even the fact that it's trying to say, like, address that's why you can't go to college and be a wife, because you'll turn Jamaican.
Yeah, turn into these non-virgin things, man. I was making fun of the people that do the accent, not like actual. Do the accent badly, not like
that fine
who have it. So,
yeah. Shout out to y'all.
But
it's not even like addressing like rape on college campuses, even like as that being like an issue. So it's not even like they shouldn't go to college because they're gonna get raped. It's basically like they shouldn't go to college because they might have sex with somebody, like, which is a different connotation. Yeah, which
kind of goes to show then did the parents not educate them about this stuff, or like
or are the sons not taking any?
Yeah, I mean, because by this time they should be full adults, and like they're gonna go out into the world someday. They can't be like in this pocket of just this kind of like the negative connotation of like safe space, as far as like just staying in a bubble, of, like outside of reality.
Yeah,
and you know there is always going to be that risk that, you know, they're not going to, you know, choose, in quotes, like the right path, whatever. But, you know, if you're looking at it this way, like, if they have to make their faith their own, like, only they can do it. Like,
yeah.
And, you know, they have to figure out who they are individually. And I think it's very unfair for I don't think women should really think about if they want to be mothers or wives, like, right when they're 18 anyway. They don't know who they are yet, and nor should they. I mean, same with men. Like, they shouldn't think about, like college is the place to think about it. And also, if you even want to go along with this line of thought, like, you know, people who subscribe to, well, the idea of, like, debt-free and all that stuff.
Without tattoos.
Yeah. Like, so one of the things when you're a Christian spouse is that, like, one of the pillars is that you want to be the primary educators of your children. Mm. If you're going to stay, like, at home and not, like, have a more rounded education, then, I don't know, wouldn't it benefit you more if you did learn a skill, or just kind of broaden your knowledge through college? Like, wouldn't that benefit more to a family as well? And there's more that, like, in this article, she quotes this woman who...
is that whole little section of comments?
Yeah.
Like, I agree.
And it's also, like, now, the person who wrote the article also puts in parentheses, like, she doesn't, like, agree with all this that the woman quotes from. But it's still just really alarming that people think this way. And I feel like they just kind of, like, shoot themselves in the foot. Like, this person that quoted says that men don't want to marry women with debt, because most of the stuff comes from college. They would also prefer a woman who still lives at her parents' house that has not had other relationships. Do those two things and you will be highly sought after. I think that's terrible advice, because, well, I disagree. Like, because now, if college maybe not be right for everybody, and I get that. Like, that makes sense. But
but never leave your house, and never talk to the opposite sex until someone randomly just shows up to your house and says, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter," and then you pay a dowry and you take your pilgrim bride. And
that's not realistic, and it's not ideal anymore either. Because I don't know, wouldn't you want to know someone who has been in other relationships that like knows what they want and what they're looking for, and has had experience in just learning different things about like what they aspire to and like what they think about and contemplate and have critical thinking and like
conversation and
in order to help think for other people, you do have to start by thinking for yourself. You can only give what you have.
Yes. So. I have nothing. This is I've actually never seen the sun. This is my first time stepping outside as a pilgrim wife living with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
They said, wait till a random man comes to the door to be your husband, and I said okay. So they kept me in this coffin for 18 years, and I've kept my purity, and they sometimes feed me food through a test tube, and I can't read, basically.
And that's another thing that kind of bothers me about just kind of the idealistic virgin, we kind of call it that, because it just kind of goes along with the narrative, like kind of infers that like virgins are like, or rather someone who isn't a virgin are like damaged goods. And I really don't like that, because if someone like has ignorance of like maybe they didn't live a monogamous life before, they just kind of had to figure things out and just didn't find the truth that they were looking for till later in life, and like they made mistakes along the way or whatever, but now they're like they've kind of reformed themselves into a different life. Seeing those people as damaged goods, just I don't like that, and that's not fair, because like people make mistakes, like we're all capable of that too, but especially that stigma that's like appropriated to women for that, I think is just unfair, because like men can be just as promiscuous. In fact, that's kind of like the stereotype. They're like, oh yeah, men just want to screw and eat.
Screw, eat, and play sports.
So that really, I think that's disheartening too, that they just kind of perpetuate, like, if they're trying to get people who don't think this way to come on their side, they're basically saying like, well, if you already are not a virgin, fucked up. It's just so unfair,
Could you imagine if you were a damaged good and you had a tattoo and you're going to college? Like, no man will ever love you.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, and that's terrible. That's just a terrible message that they're trying to put across. And maybe like give the benefit of the doubt that that's not what they're trying to say necessarily, or like their point is like, I don't know, just like stay like monogamous or whatever, and like don't follow your impulses all the time. Like, but still the way that they say is just, they ruined any possible part of like potential for what their message could be, or like in the middle, but they alienate everybody.
Yeah.
And they just
found the 4 or 5 like women or whatever that's in her friend group, be like, yeah, I agree, to make it seem like that. And I mean, it's insane that like there's people that like think like that now. And I like what you were saying about like this double standard that's kind of put with men and women, where it's like I feel like a guy is chastised for being a virgin, where like a woman is put on a like freaking pedestal. But I think that also comes out of like a place of like inadequacy on people who deliberately just seek that, where it's like, oh, she's a virgin, like she doesn't know how shit I am, like in bed. Like I feel like that's where that comes from, which is dumb to put that Because I think the other thing, too, is that women are both expected to be virgins and, like, extremely sexually, like, promiscuous and perfect. Like, in the two different... It's like, there's no way that, like, a woman can be both of these things. Like, and it just doesn't make sense to put them at such a ridiculous standard where we're not setting that for the opposite sex, even.
Yeah.
I feel like I joke with, like, the standards that certain men and certain women will set for each other in regards for, like, dating, where I feel like I feel like women are told that their standards are high all of the time when they're very minimal, where it's like, oh, does he smell good? Is he great with kids? Like, is he a functioning human being, I feel like? And then there's certain guys that are like, oh, does she have, like big boobs? 36, 24, 36.
Does she got the hourglass figure,
Does she got the hourglass figure? Can she, like, cook? Like, I don't... Like,
yeah.
It's like, I don't know how much lower, like, women can get in regards to standards. I feel like they're not that insanely high. It's like, if you can't meet this minimal bar of existing, then, like, what are you even doing?
Yeah. Well, and it goes to show that, like, you know, men and women, they are different, but in a lot of ways, like, they're still both, like, they're both human, and so they do, like, as much as, like, generally, like, men and women, like, as two groups, they can kind of argue, they have a lot in common with, and I think, especially today, we kind of need to celebrate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like that this problem between, like, men and women in relationships, like, I feel like, especially in this article, what it does is, like, if you think of, like, women or femininity, like, they're in this boat and the boat is sinking, right? Because it's just there's a crisis or something, and they're like, help. It's like, these people, they're saying, well, you shouldn't have gone on a boat, haven't you? It's like
you're not addressing a problem or anything. It's just
maybe there should have been people to help, like, unsink the ship, or, like, had a paddle with them, saying, like, you know, maybe men need to step it up or something. Like, I don't know if that metaphor makes sense, but, like...
No, I mean, I see it.
It's like, yeah. I feel like rather than saying, women, you're supposed to do stuff, like, well, like, men have a responsibility as well, and I think that, you know, it definitely takes both parties in order to, like, grow from that. But I think especially in this culture, like, I mean, if we learned anything from, you know, the Me Too movement and the subsequent movements thereafter, or, you know, before, around that time, like, that is that men, especially, you know, good and responsible men that, you know that this is a problem, do need to speak out. And even if it's not, like, I mean, especially because it seems to be more of a case that women have to deal with this stuff, and they shouldn't. And
yeah.
Even that, like even men have to deal with that too, like, even on a different proportionate scale. Like, it's still just a basic right that, like, they need to fight for. They shouldn't have to worry about just that, those heinous crimes, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure I was going to go with that, but
I mean, I wholly and 100% agree. And I think that, say, like, I refer to myself as a feminist, following the dictionary definition of just equality for both. So, like, it's like, yes, I fight for other women to say, hey, what this guy did to me is wrong. And that's, you know, and that's messed up. And it's like, yeah, totally. Like, I'm with you. Let's do this. And then it's also, at the same time, being able to fight, say, like, toxic masculinity, where it's like, okay, well, we have to be the dominators, or we, you know, like men shouldn't be vulnerable, or that, like, any ridiculous standard set for men as well. So, like, that's just anything that is, like, limiting your experience on this earth to be a human should be, like, a problem at the forefront for like, a feminist and anybody who's just a humanitarian in general. So I think that totally goes along with what you're saying about it being about the Me Too movement. And people like this, like, the debt-free virgins, is like, you're right, it's only putting it on the woman in this situation. And a relationship seems to me to be somewhat equal, unless these dudes are looking for a mom, which is a little little Nietzsche messed up, but yeah.
And, oh, yeah.
We'll fix these problems.
Yeah. I hope. Like, these can be trying times, but I think there definitely is hope. You know?
Yeah.
For the future. We just have to, like, I don't know, keep at it. Keep finding, like, truth in situations. You know, like, I think championing the truth as far as also, like, bringing out the darkness that can happen in humanity is, like, they're equally important. Like, I think especially as artists, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because that helps, that makes the truth that much stronger if we know, like, what we're fighting against. Not that it should always be an us versus them mentality, because I don't really like that, but...
Because that's sort of the dealing in the, like, extremes, when there really shouldn't.
Yeah, and I think we have enough extreme personalities and ideologies to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And, I think the reason in moderately thinking, just looking at things the way it is going to benefit a lot more. And, it's easy to do. You just have to, like, open the conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to run into Nick and I in a bar and you want to open a conversation, we'll come up and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they say in Thanksgiving you never talk about religion, sex, and politics.
Mm-hmm.
I love all those three subjects talking about it, 'cause I think it should be talked about, because for the very reason that it's uncomfortable, because then nobody will talk about it, but then it's inevitable because we're kind of in some way connected with all three subjects. Even if, like, you subscribe to spirituality, and that way if you see that, like, spirituality is like a religion, if you will. It's kind of like
there's something more than
kind of janky, but, like, some kind of spirituality aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, meet us at Thanksgiving. Come to our dinner table.
It's a potluck, so bring food.
Yeah. Turkey and conversations about sex, politics, and religion. Mm-hmm. It's in the invitation. Do you have any final thoughts that was not covered, or any advice for maybe a debt-free virgin with tattoos? Should she go to college?
Oh, she's gonna go to college. I don't even. No,
this unicorn that exists.
Just, like, I guess keep what's about you. Like, I guess, like, don't worry too much, I guess, about life, because there's always going to be struggles, and you're going to run into things that contradict, like, your ideas. But I think it's better to open that conversation to, you might learn something from the other side, and you might realize that you guys, like, on opposite sides of a coin aren't really that much different after all.
That's very profound. Mm-hmm. So that debt-free virgin with tattoos, that was for you.
Yeah. And, give if you have an idea, and, like, for a tattoo, and you give it, like, 3 months, and you still want to keep it, like, consider it if it really means that much to you.
Yeah.
Because we all know you're thinking about it, even though you don't have one yet.
Right. Do you have any social media that you would like to plug? Anywhere we can see you outside of Tampon Talk?
Yeah, well, actually, I forgot to mention this. I also do some drawings. I've been trying to work on that, because
cool.
It's just kind of fun creative outlet. So that, I have an Instagram for that. It's Southpaw Sketches.
All right, we'll tag that in the description too.
Yeah, and then I have a Twitter that I don't use, The Mighty Shy Guy.
All right.
And that's also for, I think that's it, actually. Mostly just Twitter and IG for now.
All right.
But,
all right.
Until my SoundCloud mixtape drops in.
Yo, once it does, you're back on here to promote, my man.
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Well, thank y'all for listening. You can also follow our Tampon Talk media if you really like. I would really appreciate it, because our Instagram is pretty juicy. It does not have an aesthetic. I don't know how to do that. So it's Tampon Talk W Mary on Twitter and Instagram. Email me your thoughts. I'm sure if you have any questions for Nick the Wise, you can email tampontalkwithmary@gmail.com. I will forward them to him. We're buds. I will send them his way if you're open to answering any.
Yeah, I would love to.
Any questions? Like us on Facebook. There's maybe one post. You can like that as well if you'd like. That's a lot of like in the same sentence. We're now available on iTunes and Spotify and Player FM. A couple different platforms. Hopefully at iHeartRadio. If you let me be on there, please let me know. So you could try to listen to me on all those platforms with all these other great guests I'm bringing on, including Nick. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you're a female, keep on bleeding. You got it. If you're a dude, stay woke.
Stay woke.
Stay woke. Stay
you know?
woke.
Yeah.
If you're a human being, you deserve love and respect.
Amen.
Amen. And that's the end of our sermon. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time on Tampon Talk with Mary. Bye.